John, is this one of the fundamental things you teach students, how to make French bread? It sounds like it should be one of the first classes any student here at the school should take.
I like it to be one of your first classes because it's such a basic item. There's only 4 ingredients that go into French bread. And in my opinion, if you can make a good loaf of bread, you can do anything in baking at all.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
welcome to the Chef's Kitchen. I'm your host, Tina Marie, and today we are here at the restaurant school at Walnut Hill College, joined today by Chef John Gallagher,
yes.
Pastry chef here, instructor.
Yes.
You're back, we're back. It's wonderful to be cooking with you. We always learn wonderful things.
I hope so.
We've made gingerbread houses and all kinds of wonderful cream desserts, and now we're going back to basics,
Yes.
making classic French bread. Is a baguette what our end product going to be?
We're going to make a baguette, but we'll also do 3 or 4 different kinds of shapes just using that one dough. So that way you can put a little bit of variety into the bread that you make. The baguettes, while they're beautiful, and there are a little bit difficulties to do, but if you can do one, you can do all of them.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Excellent. Okay, where do we begin, Chef?
Okay, as I said, it's a nice simple recipe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take about 1.5 pounds of bread flour here.
Bread flour. This is different than all-purpose flour, correct?
Yes, bread flour has a higher gluten content in it.
Okay.
So it's a stronger stronger flour. It's going to create strands inside the bread dough, and it's going to make the dough much more resilient to the shaping that you have to do. Now I'm just going to stir these together, the salt and the flour. I want to make sure that they're nice and blended in between.
What kind of salt?
I'm using kosher salt today. I like to use kosher salt instead of the regular iodized salt, only because the salt is in there to help preserve the bread, to bring out the flavor of the flour, and to improve the structure of the flour. The iodized salt gives you that iodine aftertaste. It's a little so-so.
Okay.
The kosher salt just has much cleaner flavor to it.
So it's ideal for bread baking?
Ideal for bread baking,
Okay.
yes.
That's good to know.
Now, this is just my fresh yeast. I prefer the cake yeast over the dry yeast.
Okay, so it's a difference. Cake yeast and dry yeast.
Cake yeast is a fresh product. It's rather soft when you buy it. You can buy it in small cubes in some really good supermarkets. Oh, thank you.
Certainly.
The fresh yeast will give you much better flavor to your bread. It's a lot more consistent when it comes to its rise.
Okay.
And I just like the way it reacts with my flour a lot better.
So it essentially has the same effect, but you just certainly prefer...
Same exact effect. The only thing you have to be careful with, though, is if you use dry yeast, normally you have to cut it in half.
Ah.
You can't use the full amount. What I always tell my students is to check the package that you buy the dry yeast in, because usually they have instructions on how to make that adjustment.
Right now, this is resembling pasta making to me.
It's exactly like pasta
Okay.
making. And in fact, when I teach the culinary students how to do this, I always say to them, you're making pasta dough, just make believe it's the same thing.
Yes, it's a good way to look at it.
Now, the other thing I always say, you have to be careful when you're first stirring this, because if you have this this is a fontina method, meaning fountain, and we stir a little bit of the flour in because we're trying to thicken the water and make it into more of a mud.
Okay.
If you stir really fast, or if you get a little too overzealous and you break the wall, you end up just washing your shoes, because the water just runs right out and goes on your feet.
I forgot to ask you about the temperature of the water that you added. Is it important that it be a certain temperature so as not to kill your yeast?
Yes.
Okay.
With your yeast, fresh as well as dry, I tell people you don't want to go anything over 115
degrees.
degrees.
Okay.
Now,
So warm water.
Yeah, well, skin temperature.
Okay.
You know, think of your fresh yeast as a small animal.
Okay.
You know.
Okay.
You wouldn't put this.
You're
you wouldn't
bathing
put
a salt.
Yeah, you wouldn't
Okay.
bathe your dog in boiling water.
Scald.
Don't put your yeast
Right,
in
don't
it.
scald.
No, don't
Okay.
boil babies.
I can see how it's really a process. You're slowly working the flour in, and you really have to be patient.
Yeah, you can see it's starting to get thick.
And again, that muddy texture is starting to
and that
come.
way it won't run.
Yes.
Cooked something from the show? Went to a restaurant that you loved? Found a place serving innovative cocktails or impressive wine? Become a fan of the Chef's Kitchen on Facebook and share your thoughts.
We're back with more from the restaurant school at Walnut Hill College.
Now what I'm going to do is just throw the flour in,
Okay.
and this will help thicken
So when
it.
you're confident that it's at a consistency that it won't run, you can just
That's when
go
you
ahead and
start
incorporate.
scooping it into the center and creating your dough.
Do your pastry art students work very early hours in the morning to prepare the bread for the shop?
My first class starts at 6 a.m.
Okay.
So, yes, they're very happy to be there at 6 a.m.
Oh, I'm sure they are. You
And,
treat them with some coffee and
no, I
pastry
don't.
treats?
No, they got to come in awake, otherwise they're in for it.
There you go. Is the pastry shop very popular? You have a good clientele?
Very, yes. It's getting busier and busier as the days progress. I get wilder and wilder cake orders.
Wow.
All of our menu items are very popular. The prices are good too.
You do many banquets here at the restaurant school.
Yes.
You have a beautiful courtyard area that you could have a wedding.
The courtyard does. We've done several weddings here at the school, anywhere up to 100, 150 people. And it gets very popular. So we handle all kinds of banquets, dinner parties. We had a very big chef's meeting here a few months ago that was very popular. Let's get back to bread.
Absolutely. Let's get back to the bread.
Now, I just want you to notice something, because after we pulled it together, you'll notice it starts to come together. But, all right, this is going to be tricky. Feel this.
It's
What does it feel like?
It's sticky.
It's sticky.
But it's all
feels,
together.
It feels like a bag of wet oatmeal, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Is that good? Do we want that?
Yes, right now we do. But as we start kneading it, I want to start taking this dough and folding it on top of itself and kneading it, pressing down. It's almost like a rocking motion, as you can tell by the rocking table we have. And as you knead it more and more, the dough is going to get nice and smooth and velvety inside.
What processes are taking place?
We're starting to combine the water, the protein in the flours, and we're starting to create gluten.
Okay.
Gluten is what's going to make it stretch and make it able to work. Okay? So, after we've kneaded it long enough, we will get a nice pliable dough, somewhat similar to this.
Yes.
Now, if you go ahead and feel that, you'll notice it's nice and smooth.
Yes.
Now, at this time, I would like to bring, I have a student assistant with me, Natalie.
Hello, Natalie. Come on the set with us.
Natalie's going to be helping me out here. She'll bring some of our doughs over.
Great.
I have a little bit of the French bread that we're both going to shape into a baguette.
Great.
And then we will take it from there.
Okay. And Natalie is a student in the pastry arts program?
Yes,
correct?
she's one of my pastry students. She's been, let me see, she's in her second half of the associate program.
Yep. Very good.
Right, we'll take the 2 French breads.
So what other kind of breads do you have the students make, Chef?
Anything and everything. We normally offer 3 breads a day. We have a sourdough, we have a French bread, and then some type of a flavor bread. When you do put down your flour,
Right.
all right, I always tell people it's not dumping it. You don't want to put a ton of flour down because you want the people to taste your bread. You don't want them to taste your flour. Instead of dumping it, you're not Tinkerbell, all right? I want you to be.
No?
I want you to be in the casinos. I want you
Oh,
to be
gladly.
I want you to be throwing the hard 7.
Oh, okay. I
so
see.
open your hand and throw it out.
Like a craps table.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to say that word. Shh.
Okay.
All right, so put a little flour down on your table
Okay.
and put your dough on top of
I
it.
like that technique.
Okay.
Here we go.
All right, now, you're going to take your fingertips and you're going to dimple the dough down.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, very good. A great way to get
Then-
out aggressions.
Oh, that's why bread is so wonderful. Take your dough and give it a stretch. Okay? Now, starting up at the top left-hand corner,
Yes.
you're going to take your dough, roll it down and pinch it. Do it again. Do it again. All the way down the
Oh,
end.
all the way down?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go all the way down.
So are we making a baguette, Chef?
Yep. This is a classic baguette. All right,
Okay.
now, start again at the left side and do it again.
And to roll over again. So we're
So you're just rolling down the tube
almost like a jelly roll.
using your secret tool.
Yes. Oh, I like this part. Mine's much less noisy.
I got heavy hands. All right, now, put the dough so the seam is on the table.
Okay.
Okay? Right now, you're going to put one hand on top of the other.
Yes.
You're going to roll back and forth, but you're not going to look at it. You let your hands do the looking
So
for
you want us
You
to
want an
feel.
even tube straight across it. Don't look.
I love this technique because this is what you do with your students.
Yeah. And you're trying to feel the thickness of the loaf in your hands.
And the reason why you encourage your students not to look down at the bread is what? So
Well,
they get a.
If you look down at the bread, then you tend to concentrate on one area. You'll see it a little thick on one side, so you'll work that side, then it'll be too thin. Then you'll go to this side, and it'll be too thick, so you'll roll this.
Yes.
Trust
so just
your hands.
I love the ease with
Trust
which
your
you
hands.
give to this process? Because bread making can be intimidating to some people. There's something about it that reminds you of chemistry class.
Yeah, there is when you first mix it. But after that, these are your only tools you need. You know, so once you roll it out, life is beautiful.
We'll be right back with more from the restaurant school at Walnut Hill College. We're back with more from the restaurant school at Walnut Hill College.
Yours looks better than mine, Chef. I
I've
need
been
some
doing
help.
it a
I need
little
to
longer.
enroll in your bread boot camp that you were telling about earlier.
should.
That's one of your classes for the community, which the restaurant school also offers. These are people who are not interested in gaining a degree maybe in the restaurant field, however, are interested in culinary arts and want to maybe enhance their life by taking a class.
You can come in and take a class in the evenings. We run them 2 or 3 evenings a week. And it runs everything from bartending to winemaking to culinary classes. There's a beer making class going on right now. I do the baking, some of the baking classes, wedding cakes.
It's great fun. Great fun.
Yeah, it is.
And this is a great way to get out any anxieties you may have. What's next, Chef?
Okay, next, what we're going to do now, you've mixed your bread,
Right.
You've let it rest, and then you've gone ahead and shaped it, all right? At this point, you'll let it sit and it rises.
Okay.
Right? You want to let it get till it's at least double its original size.
How long does this have to proof, Chef?
Usually in a fairly normal temperature room, you're looking at about maybe an hour.
Okay.
You just put a towel over it and put it somewhere. Never rush your bread.
Okay.
All right? Bread doesn't wear a wristwatch. It
Yes.
doesn't tell time.
Okay.
Right? It's ready when it's ready. Natalie, if we could have the baguettes. Okay? Now we'll first start with real simple
Thank you,
and easy.
Natalie.
Now these have been proofed, and you can see they're nice and doubled in size.
Yes. The crisp exterior has actually started to form as well. You can actually tell.
It's starting to get
So
a little bit
indicative
of
of
a
a baguette.
skin on it, you know, but it's not that bad. It's still nice and soft and pliable.
This
Okay.
is called a lame.
This is called the lame. It's a double-edged razor blade, and it's usually just bent in half like this,
Okay.
and then slide a stick through here. Now, you can use a whittled-down chopstick.
Okay.
This one, it's part of my leaf rake at home. I cut it off and it's metal.
Really?
Well, yes, because the reason is I have a magnet on the side of my oven. I can just put it up there. I'll never lose it.
Chef secrets never cease to amaze me. I love it.
It works great. Plus, I don't have to pay as much
Oh,
for it.
isn't that right?
Okay,
You have
now,
many of them too.
now the blade is curved, so what you want to do is you're going to take the knife and just with the very tip of the blade, you're going to cut down.
Okay, so
All
we
right.
want to make diagonal slashes.
You want to make long slashes, and you can do as many as you like, you know, a few, but try not to go straight across because it makes the loaf weak.
Okay.
I'm going to ask
Yes,
you to move your hand
absolutely.
because I don't want to cut you because you're
Thank
doing the
you.
next one.
I appreciate that.
All right, choke up on the bat.
Okay.
Okay, take the blade and just
Oh, I see. Slices right through.
right down.
Slice. Now, why is this the most difficult part? Am I about to find out?
Yeah.
Right.
Go ahead and do this one.
Okay. So now, am I holding the bread also, Chef?
Yes.
Okay.
Otherwise, sometimes it'll pull. Okay? Now, the reason, go ahead, keep going. The reason for the difficulty is when you look at a true baguette, all right, the way to tell if it's slashed properly is once it's baked off, you should be able to pick up the loaf by that lip.
Ah.
Okay.
So it should be a deep slash.
Yes and no.
Okay.
It all has to do with the position of the blade. If you go with the blade straight up and down, when
Yes.
it bakes, it puffs up and you get what's called a bald cut. It's smooth.
Oh, I
If
see.
you go with the blade flat like this, it actually will come up slightly,
And that's
that
what you want.
provides the lip. Yeah.
Okay.
Like I said, that's the toughest part
That's
of
a
it.
very good tip.
This is an epi.
An epi.
Yeah, epis are different. They're supposed to resemble a sheath of wheat. All right?
Okay.
Take your scissors, cut 3/4 of the way down. All the way down the loaf, and then put them in opposite
Oh,
directions.
yes, of course, we've all seen these. Okay, so these are the various shapes that we can enjoy French bread. We've all seen them in stores and pastry
Exactly.
shops. What are their names?
All right, what we have here is I made 2 smaller baguettes, so they're about half the weight of the original size baguettes.
Okay.
And they're called ficelles. Now to
Ficelles.
finish these off, usually what I'll do is I'll brush them down with a little bit of melted butter and some garlic powder.
Ooh,
all
very
right?
good.
And then they'll just get really small slashes right across the top of them.
Okay.
So they can go out to your family just like that.
And nice crispy exteriors too, right?
Excellent, excellent exterior. Now the other 2, these ones I like to do a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
Natalie, if I can get the round cutters, all right? Remember we were talking about slashing your bread?
Yes.
And relieving that surface tension. These are so easy. Look at this. You just take this and
Used in
just
so many ways
press.
in the kitchen. And so you're just, this is going to stay like this. So you're just
Yeah.
making different.
All I'm doing is
instead
cutting
of
around
slashing,
circle.
and essentially you're doing the same thing. You're
When
giving it room to breathe.
It'll expand right here, and it'll puff up, and it looks like an old style
It's decorative.
bowler hat.
Yes, it
you know?
does.
So I'm going to take this, put this down on the table,
Right.
just like this. Put your elbow in the middle,
Oh, this forms a ring.
and this forms a perfect ring.
This is a full body motion bread.
With-
Incorporate
yeah,
all
but the
your
nice thing
limbs.
is you don't have to worry about a seam in the middle of it opening up or
Yes,
anything like
that's
that
right.
because when it bakes off, it'll be perfectly smooth.
Right, so this is the
Oh, I'm sorry.
fougasse.
All I did was I took the French bread and I scaled it off in 1.5 pound pieces. All right, I'm going to take them, loosen them up a little bit from the tray, and then with a pizza wheel, I'm just going to cut a few slashes in the center of the dough.
Okay.
Then take it and open it up.
Oh.
These are all things that you can do out of one and the same dough.
And you use very little utensils, very little
I try
tools.
not to.
We'll be right back with more from the restaurant school at Walnut Hill College. We now return to the chef's kitchen featuring the restaurant school at Walnut Hill College.
We are here in the piazza of the restaurant school, which is a lively, airy space, more indicative of a European hidden corner, I believe. It's where
Yes.
all four of the restaurant school restaurants actually come together, and diners from the outside or maybe even faculty students can come and dine and eat some of the wonderful
to it.
delights,
Yes.
which is great.
Yes.
So we're joined, of course, by Chef John, who gave us a wonderful tutorial on French bread making, and Natalie. And I understand, Natalie, you are in your second year in the pastry arts program.
Yes, I'm a sophomore, my first semester of my sophomore year.
So you're halfway through.
Halfway through.
What attracted you about the pastry arts program here at the restaurant school?
Well, I knew that they had great chefs here, so I just wanted to learn from the best.
And have you been taking a lot of classes with Chef John?
Yeah, most of my classes are with him.
Yes?
Yep.
And in the pastry arts program, I know the travel is part of several of your programs. Do the pastry arts students, are they involved in any of the travel opportunities?
Pastry arts students go with the culinary students on our trip to France. In fact, we're having one leaving soon. I'll be going to Paris, so they're all mad at me because I'm leaving town.
Off to Paris.
Yeah.
That must be
Rough.
something that you're looking forward to, Natalie.
Yes,
that
I'm
trip
very
to
excited.
Yes, I'm sure, no doubt. Okay, well, should we get to the art of sampling our breads?
Yes,
I understand you have some olive oils here. Tell us a little bit about what we have.
we have 3 different types of olive oils that we're going to taste today. The first one that I poured is a chive olive oil.
Okay.
Then I have a chili olive oil, not too spicy, but it's got a nice little kick to it. And then, of course, an extra virgin olive oil. I always like to serve a plain oil with my breads because you'll get more of the bread flavor than the oil flavor because the bread is the best part.
Sure, of
Let's
course.
face
Of
it.
course, talking like a true pastry chef.
Now, the first one I want to try is one of our eppies.
I love the look of this bread. I do.
It's very nice, but like I said, you got to be careful because these are
These
sharp.
are sharp ends, yes.
And normally people will just take these off and pull them out and just eat them individually, like so.
Perfect serving portion size.
Exactly. Well, I mean, when you cut them with the scissors, you can get them bigger, smaller. You can do virtually whatever you want.
Yes.
The ficelles, as you can see, these are nice and crusty.
Yes.
They have the garlic powder underneath, so they smell fantastic. So they're great for dipping.
Their small size gives them a very firm crust.
A good firm crust. Well, that's the other thing with French bread. I mean, feel this baguette.
Yes.
It's not the kind you would buy in the supermarket that's I put it next to, like, when you go to the Phillies game and you hold up that foam finger.
Yes.
I don't want that. I want a baguette that you can hit somebody.
Sure, you
it
want
should
a
have a
firm-
good crust to it.
What is the shelf life of these breads? I know that they do not last long, correct?
They don't last long only because I put no extenders in them. I put no preservatives in
All
them
natural.
whatsoever. It's all natural. And you saw what ingredients go into them: flour, salt, water, and yeast.
Shall we go ahead and taste?
Oh, please.
Here, Natalie, please join in.
Thank you.
Taste it. So essentially, the proper way of doing this is to dip a little bit in the olive oil, correct?
Yes, just a little dab.
I think I'm going to start off just like you are, Chef, with the plain extra virgin. Get some of the nice oil.
It's excellent. The oil is nice and clean. The bread is good and crunchy.
Fresh bread.
But there's
Nothing
nothing
like
better.
freshly made
There's
bread.
nothing better.
Beautiful. And I love admiring the different shapes and styles and decorative touches you put onto the various breads.
Here are the small bowlers that we
This
made
is what we made with our.
with the cutter, with the round cutter that just went down. And then we have, of course, the fougasse. Take
We'll have
that
to
out
taste
of
the
it.
fougasse
Right, let's
because
tear
that's
that
decorated
one.
with some rosemary.
Now you see how large that bread
Yes.
got? Because when you cut it, you pull it apart and it makes it phenomenal
And it
in
does
size.
resemble a flatbread. It has that same look. Try
It
some
has
of
the
this.
same look, a good crust to it.
This is the chive oil, right, John?
Yes, yes. And the topping can be virtually whatever you like. You know? So, all of it.
The chive oil has a very good taste to it.
Yeah, I was looking at it. It's rather thick.
There's a little bit of flavor. It's very thick.
Very nice.
Would you like some, Natalie?
Oh, thank you.
Please dip some in. Some of this bougasse. Wonderful fresh bread. And now people can come in from the outside into your pastry shop and buy French bread. Is it every day you offer breads and pastries and desserts?
Every day of the week we offer fresh breads, 3 different varieties.
Right.
When you come to the restaurant, you have fresh bread on your table. Any of the sandwiches that we offer in the courtyard for the lunches are all on my fresh bread. And everything that we do, the menu changes every day. You can see anything from a raisin pumpernickel to a seeded rye bread to Russian black bread every now and then.
All the more reason to come to the restaurant school to enjoy the art of bread making.
Yes.
We've enjoyed it. Thank you so much for your
Thank you.
guidance. And
Anytime.
thank you so much for your
Thank you.
assistance, Natalie.
Training to become a talented chef is not as out of reach as you think. The restaurant school at Walnut Hill College has the perfect part-time program that will coordinate with your busy work and life schedule. You'll experience small, hands-on classes with individualized chef attention, all while earning your degree in just 24 short months. You will enhance your studies of food and wine with a memorable gastronomic tour of France upon graduation. Don't delay. Classes are forming now. Please visit us on the website for more information at walnuthillcollege.edu. Cooked something from the show? Went to a restaurant that you loved? Found a place serving innovative cocktails or impressive wine? Become a fan of the Chef's Kitchen on Facebook and share your thoughts.
Tony Clark is back. This Jersey boy is turning out his culinary creations at the Old Grange by Tony Clark and Cape May. Superlative food, excellent service, and a house vineyard make this a foodie's dream.
It was very nerve-wracking. I've never been on TV before, but the chef really calmed me down and he told me what I had to do, so I was really prepared. I think it was a lot of fun to be on. I really enjoyed watching it, and I'll probably watch it when it comes on.